So
I fully agree.
it looks like we might be getting underway, and we are into the champion select. So first ban, first pick going the way of Moscow 5 this time round. And let's see who they're going to remove from the pool. Are we going to see Nautilus bans? Are we going to see Anivia? Also, I should point out, Alexic was playing Anivia in the previous game. And I think it was 7-0-6 at the end of it. So it seems all the AP mids at the moment wanting to play like Froggen.
While trying to steal the limelight. And it's going to be Karthus, actually, first ban out for Moscow 5. Of course, Alex is a very strong Karthus player himself, but maybe fearing the Peke play, and Corki is going to be banned out. Definitely targeted towards Genja. He plays Corki an awful lot, and he's incredibly strong. Nidalee taken out from Moscow 5, and we did see Soaz picking her up 2 matches in a row and doing incredibly well at top.
So Urgot and Nidalee removed, so I like that. That's obviously from the match history. So now we want to see who Soaz going to play. You know, we've seen him hovering over Darien for a little bit. We haven't seen him play... Who did he play previously? It was Nidalee twice, and then...
Who's that? Soaz?
Yes. We've only seen 2 games from them, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Yeah,
It
okay,
went
so
2-0.
Yeah, so both of them being Nidalee. And take a look at the bans. Karthus, Nidalee, and Nautilus. So that's 1 for Xpeke, 1 for Cyanide, and 1 for Soaz. And Darien in the previous game was playing Irelia, and he just completely stomped. But it does mean that you have Twisted Fate available, and the ganking power of Twisted Fate and Paranoia from Nocturne is just huge.
That is incredible, actually. Also, you'd have to say that Nocturne has a mini counter to Shen, because if Nocturne can pop off his Paranoia quick enough, it's going to be difficult for Shen to actually use his Stand Unite effectively. So that's another thing to take into consideration, but as you say, I mean, Twisted Fate and Nocturne together is just so strong. Whoever is at top lane is going to be consistently under threat of a 3v1 gank in the blink of an eye.
And I'd like to know, I want to see exactly how this plays out. We've seen this setup many times before, but, and I know I've seen the Twisted Fate and the Ashe pickup from Fnatic before, but I'm trying to remember the last time I seen Cyanide playing Nocturne. I'm fairly certain we're going to see Ashe being locked in, because then, you know, you've got the Ashe arrow into Paranoia, into Destiny, and that's GG no re, somebody's going to die.
It's mega scary, but look at Alex, he's picked up the Galio. I really like that pick. Also, Kog'Maw and Genji, he's like, okay, fair enough, you took Corki out, I'm just going to pick up Kog'Maw, equally as strong, and you are dead on the money that we are going to see Fnatic taking Ashe once again. So 3 games in a row, Lamia going to be taking that Ashe at bot lane. This time accompanied by Janna, it would appear.
Now, Ashe Janna's not too bad. You've got the additional crowd control elements of the Howling Gale, as well as Monsoon. Of course, the bonus damage onto Ashe is never going to go, you know, it's going to be very good and welcomed. But toying with the ideas, are we going to keep it, are we not going to keep it? I quite like the idea of the Monsoon as well, especially against the likes of an Alexic or a Galio and Shen, who are going to be needing to get close up. And if you're a little bit overextended, or you think, you know, we're going to get a Idol of Duran to the face shortly, it makes sense to toss out that Monsoon and counter-engage. But it does seem as though I'm dreaming just a little bit, because it ends up being locked in with a Nunu instead.
I'm not quite sure what to think about Nunu.
Well, I've seen Nunu Ashe do very well. Again, you know, the movement speed in conjunction with the Ice Frost, the volley, and the Frost, it is Ashe Frost arrows, the Q Frost arrows, slowing arrows.
Yeah.
It's very effective. And it looks like they're going to be going against a non-sustained lane, but it does look like Darien's going to have Jax for the top line, and that's scary.
Darien Jax it's a pain train, and it's speeding like a locomotive. It's very difficult to stop him, especially with Shen. But again, Darien has to be so careful, because you've got Twisted Fate, you've got Nocturne, who can suddenly appear right next to him. So how is Soaz going to try and counteract this one? Of course, Nidalee has been banned out this game, so we aren't going to see 3 Nidalees in a row. And it's going to be interesting. It looks like it could be a Kennen, so going for double AP.
I like the pick of Kennen as well, because that's going to be a very good counter against the Idol of Durand. You know, if he commits to a fight, tosses up that Slicing Maelstrom, and it'll eventually put on those 2 or the 3 ticks and cancel it out. Other than that, I mean, you've got the fear proc from Nocturne and the gold card from Expeke, but that's really it in terms of cancelling that idol. So Alexic may be able to get out a really, really good idol of Durand and allow Kog'Maw with Genja just to sit there and bash everyone in the face. It also looks like everybody's picked their respective champions, bar for Lamia and Cyanide, who will just swap. That's a bit of a rarity. People picking the champions in the order that they are assigned in the team.
Oh, so it's not going to Ken actually. They're going to pick up the Olaf instead, right at the death there. So fairly interesting stuff. Olaf generally does pretty decent against melee champions. Of course, the reckless swing is true damage. Doesn't matter how much armor you have, it's going to hit you just all the same. So very, very interesting composition from Fnatic.
I really like that pickup as well, because if he manages, or if he gets caught by the Idol of Durand, he's going to be able to just Ragnarok himself out of it and run straight onto Genja and just put as much damage down as he can. So I like that pickup. I definitely think we're going to see a Quicksilver Sash on Lamia at some point during the course of the proceedings. And let's take a look at the runes at the moment. Alexic, I think he's going to be running pretty standard. Magic Pen, Armor, Ability Power, and MR. In terms of his masteries, 0-21-9, so defensive and 9 points into utility.
Okay, so I'm going to have a quick look at Peke's runes. He's going to have movement speed, 4.5%, ability power 1845, and 8.5 magic penetration. And the movement speed makes sense. Obviously the gold card is pretty much what sets him up for those kills alongside Destiny, so having that extra movement speed is really going to come good for him. So fairly standard stuff from that Peke there.
And also take a look at his masteries, 2109, but he's put 4 points into the swiftness move, or swiftness ability, giving him that extra 2%. The reason I point that out, I've seen Peke actually using Boots of Mobility on his Twisted Fate. Admittedly, it was against a team called Team Megashock from Sweden, as opposed to, the likes of Moscow 5, Absolute Legends, things like that. But I have seen him do those slightly off-the-wall builds in the past.
Yeah, but I mean, again, Boots of Mobility, it does kind of make sense. It's a lot of players who play Scion or Alistair, or we saw earlier Cyanide taking the Boots of Mobility on Nautilus. Those kind of gank-heavy, kind of catch-you-out champions. Twisted Fate could definitely work well with Boots of Mobility, so maybe Peke's going to go for that one again. Not too sure. But as you said before, I completely agree. Olaf makes a lot of sense. The Ragnarok is really going to come good for him, especially when you consider there's also a counter-strike with Jax and a taunt from Shen. It's going to keep him mobile, it's going to keep him in the faces of Moscow 5.
Take a look at the rune pages at the moment. Cyanide's got a pretty interesting one. Test Plank, 24 MR, 15% attack speed, 7 attack damage, and then 13 armor. In terms of his masteries, 2109, also going for that movement speed. So really, really trying to get as much movement speed as he can. Set up those ganks and try to control the game. Both sides have got such strong teams and champions, but they're two completely different styles. You've got Galio and the Idol of Durand, which is so powerful in those team fights. But then you've got the gank-heavy style of Fnatic. If it comes to a straight-up 5v5 engage, I don't think they can win. I don't think a Olaf and Nocturne is going to be able to stand up against Galio, Shen, and Jax. And that lineup, those three, are going to be able to protect Kog'Maw quite significantly. So while we get to the last 30 seconds, guys, I do need to throw up another advert break. And when we are back, game number 1 of Fnatic versus Moscow 5. So runes, nothing really out of the ordinary. I looked at Soaz's, but my brain didn't actually register what they were. You open it up and it just, I was looking at it, but just nothing went in.
You kind of got on autopilot. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so a lot of defensive masteries for Moscow 5. A lot of their players have gone for the 21 into defensive, and we'll have to see how that plays out, if it actually keeps them alive long enough.
Well, I mean, we speak a lot about meat shields in League of Legends, because you really want to protect that AD carry. And if you have a look at Moscow 5, I mean, man, do they have a great meat shield. Jax, Shen, Galio, all can just stand in the way of Kog'Maw. and also the kind of CC that comes alongside them as well. If anyone gets close to Kog'Maw, Shen's just going to taunt off. So it's all going to be good for him. And yeah, the skin wars looks like we actually have 2 legendary skins out. Brolaf and Gatekeeper Galio.
Oh, this is a tough one. I think I have to give it to High Noon, Twisted Fate, and Brolaf. Jaximus is cool. Jaximus is cool, don't get me wrong. But I just think that the Brolaf of chug, chug, chug is too strong.
I just love when you see a Reckless Swing finish someone off and he's like, kaboom, baby! There's just nothing really beats that, in my opinion. It's so good.
So it does look as though the skin war is in favor of Fnatic. But does that mean they're going to win the game? Does that mean they stand a chance in this game at all? Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I want to know from you guys. I would like to hear from you on chat what your thoughts and feelings are. Boots Potts reigning supreme, except for Nunu this time round. Felox, he has opted to go for that Fairy Charm. And when you consider he has Blood Boil, it's not necessary to get that extra level 1 boots at this stage. And we do see Fnatic setting up for a potential very early gank.
Yep. So Genji's going to have to be oh so careful in that tri-bush. He is going to have some support coming from Masaraka, but wouldn't fancy his chances if that 5-strong Fnatic team goes through. Here comes Soaz taking point, going to be going in. Will Genji be quick enough? The undertow has landed. Is that going to give Twisted Fate the opportunity? He does flash in with the gold card. That's going to be first blood on Lamia. Beautiful play coming out from Fnatic. And Genji just must be wondering what the hell just hit him.
I actually stuck that into the vision of Moscow 5. And literally all we seen was the undertow landing, followed up by insta-flash gold card. And first blood going to Lamia, that's huge. Going to be starting the lane with, let's see if he's actually going to buy the Dawn's Blade. She will wait for it. 4 gold to pick up the Dawn's Blade. So Boots, Pots, and the Dawn's Blade to begin with, in comparison to just the Boots, Pots of Kog'Maw. And, of course, everybody else picking up the assist. Look at the wards from Fnatic.
Yeah, 4 wards on the battlefield for them.
Something tells me they're looking for vision. I don't know why.
Yeah, just a bit perhaps. And that's the second game actually we've seen Lamia pick up the first blood and take the Doran's Blade. Last time I think she waited for the Berserker's Greaves as well, but the first blood wasn't quite as quick as it has been this game. But that's definitely going to give her a big advantage. Of course, if you don't know much about League of Legends, Dawn Blade gives you 80 health, 10 attack damage, and 3% lifesteal. Can make a big difference early game.
Darien already looking to put some pressure down to Soaz. Unfortunately, not managing to land that counter-attack, so no additional auto-attacks. Does Olaf beat Jackson lane?
He's very strong, Olaf, against a lot of melee champions. That Reckless Swing is incredible.
Oh, I just managed to mute my microphone. Sorry about that. I've seen that matchup go back and forth, and I don't know if Olaf could be considered a counter to Jax. We'll have to see how it levels up. And I'd like to see how Soaz actually is going to play this Olaf, because you can play him so many ways, like sort of tanky DPS, the slightly more standard Frozen Mallet, into maybe like an Atmos Impaler, that type of route. Or alternatively, I've seen quite a few players playing him in somewhat of a disruption role, going for the likes of Arandian's Omen, Shirelia's Reverie, Frozen Heart, and relying on his true damage Reckless Swing, cooldown reduction, and the cooldown on the undertow, just to continually harass. Undertow. We do see Ignite going down into Gosu Pepper. Flash away means volley doesn't hit. And if that volley had hit, it would have been a dead Gosu Pepper.
Yep, definitely would have been. So that's exactly what summoner spells are used for, allowing Gosu Pepper to survive. And yeah, just mentioning before about Olaf, what I would expect to see from him in this game is exactly what you said, a Frozen Heart. I mean, I'm really going to be betting on a Frozen Heart and potentially a Randuin's Omen on top of that. I think he's going to go tanky here.
We do see Xpeka. He has managed to catch out Diamond Prox, but he's just going to be able to Shadow Dash over that little wall and get to safety.
Yep, so Olaf has actually chugged through all his pots. So as level 4 is going to be coming down towards Jax. There is a ward in that tri-bush, but Nocturne is coming up as well. This could be Darien going down. Is going to pop off the counter-strike. It's not going to be enough to save him, surely, and he will get dropped from Brolaf. So that's going to be a quick fire 2-0 to Fnatic, and Olaf with an early kill, that is going to be scary at top lane.
And once again, we see a slightly overconfident recall in a slightly unorthodox position, costing a death. You know, we've seen it in the previous game. It was Veggie, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
you know,
twice,
being caught out twice in game number 1 against Fnatic. And this time around, compliments of those wards. And the thing that I love, the reason I love watching this and pointing that out, that ward would not have been there if he didn't get the assist for first blood. And if that ward was not there, they probably would not have picked up that kill. So, huge.
And that's the thing. I mean, these small things in League of Legends really start to stack up. You know, as you say, that assist doesn't come in, the ward's not there, the kill doesn't come down. So Olaf kind of is going to go back to spawn. What does he pick up? An early Heart of Gold. So good. Again, that's going to reflect that more than likely he is going to be building towards a Randuin's Omen as the game progresses on.
I would also like to once again just apologize to those of you who have just seen the adverts. I'm actually not in control of the adverts right now. So this is the admin team that's doing that. I'd love it if you guys could send some tweets to them at MMO Champions on Twitter and say, stop spamming me during games. Just, that would be really, really great. Anyways, 2-0 Fnatic up 1,600 gold. The Blood Boil on Lamia is doing really, really well because they've been in control of this lane several times. They've pushed the lane several times and they've been in control of it thus far. It appears as though the sustain isn't really doing a big difference at the moment, and now we've got a lot of aggression coming down onto Gosu Pepper. Are we going to see a tower dive? The Duskbringer does land, Wish comes out, Cyanide moves forward, manages to pick up the assist, and Lamia 2-0-0. That Blood Boil is just too strong.
You know what, man? I'm just going to stop making predictions. Because I suck at making predictions. I'm like, Moscow 5 have got this. Fnatic with an early 3-0.
The worst part for me, the most infuriating thing, this cup I didn't actually place my predictions at interlol.com on that match ticker. So the games that I'm finally predicting right, I don't have on my record score sheet. So I'm a bit cross with myself.
Well, I mean, you got the moral victory. Everyone's heard you say it. So far you've got a 100% victory rate in the prediction war.
Thank you very much. It's a moral victory. We do have Destiny coming out. Genji's now going to go down. Gold card to the face. Another kill the way of Fnatic. And there is going to potentially be a kill here onto Fearlox. He manages to get away somehow. Alexic not using those abilities. Unfortunately, they were on cooldown. And Lamia, with just the Doran's Blade and Berserker's Greaves, was able to force Alexic out before he could even consider getting that Idol of Durandorf.
Oh, that is painful. That is definitely painful. Nunu escaping on very, very low health. And another gank coming in good for Fnatic. So, you know, early 4-0 lead. Ashe has gone back, already picked up herself the Berserker's Greaves, the Pickaxe and the Doran's Blade. And comparing that to Genja, who has just 2 Doran's Blades and Boots of Speed, that's going to be really, really one-sided. And of course, add to the fact that, yes, itemization, you know, Lamia is already ahead, but you need to factor in the difference that Blood Boil makes as well. Increases movement speed by 13% and attack speed by 45%. So not only is that the difference, look at this, there goes crit. We see Nunu and Twisted Fate there as well. Crit followed up, the volley's now going to come in there. It's going to be enough. Genja's going to try pick up the kill onto Lamia. Paranoia is going to be enough to pick up a kill in the background. And Fnatic just pick up 2 really, really easy kills. This should potentially be a dragon. I think it will be. The mark went off. Nunu and Twisted Fate both going to go up. Peke did put a ward down in the tri-bush, so they're going to get early warning if Shen does try and poke up and give it a steal. But Lamia, actually, this isn't going to be a dragon just yet. The bot lane did recall. Lamia went back, so they have opted to not bother with dragon just for now. So, well, okay, I suppose when you're a little bit ahead, you know, you don't have to force it. Lamia was, of course, very, very low and has decided to go back and take a look at that. Being in a non-sustain lane, not having the heal, has opted to use that gold that she had to pick up the Vamp Scepter. 0-0-5 on Nunu, 3-0-2 Lamia, 2-0-2 Expeke. You could not ask for a better start to your grand final. And yeah, I mean, what more can you say? Great ganks and great positional play. Yeah, on top of that, Olaf is 1-0-1. He's got Heart of Gold already, the Ninja Tabi boots, Twisted Fate has popped off the Destiny. Where is he going to be going with this? He's going to be going to bot lane. Genja could be falling once again. The AD carry is coming under all kinds of attacks consistently from Twisted Fate. This is what we were talking about before, the global presence of Nocturne and TF. And they have been harassing that bot lane time and time again. Speaking of global ultimates, Shen used his on Genja just to keep him alive.
Yep, if that Stand United had not come in there, the wild cards and the volley was going to be enough to actually pick up the kill. And very, very wisely from Fnatic, they seen the animation, they seen the Stand United, and they didn't overcommit. You know, they seen it there and they fell back. They just immediately stepped backwards, and that was the right thing to do, was the right decision to make for Fnatic. In the top lane, Soaz goes very, very low against Darien. And luckily Cyanide was around to prevent a death at the very least. But it almost looked like a kill was going to go the way of Moscow 5.
Yeah, Darien had to recall as well, both of them going on low health. Twisted Fate has just flashed up red for me, but I'm not going to be too bothered. Underneath the tower with blue buff as well, that's going to give Destiny just that little bit less cooldown, which is going to allow him to just gank more and more and more. Vampiric Scepter has been built up onto Ashe. We are going to have a Wriggles Lantern on Nocturne already, and it's fairly already a large rod on TF. Ouchie.
And excuse the childish laughter. I've also just heard that the large rod TF has been interviewed by Interlol. If you guys head over to interlol.com, the #1 news article, the very first one, the newest one, is actually up there and running. So go check it out. Cyanide currently sitting 2-0-2 with a very large rod. He's going to be destinying in. Gold card lands onto Gosu Pepper. The Absolute Zero comes out. It's going to hold him in place. And popping the Absolute Zero is going to pick up the kill. And a great enchanted Crystal Arrow. That's going to be a dead Genja. 0-8 Fnatic. Wow, wow, wow.
Well, I think the large rod has just been upgraded to a huge rod. The balls and Peke, they're tangibly big. Let's just put it that way. That's going to be a dragon as well. So gold is going up and up and up. 8-0 already to Fnatic. And, well, as I said before, my predictions have just been epic fail today.
Paranoia is going to be used onto Alexich in the top lane. Paranoia, the fear leash is around. Unfortunately, expected just too far away to get in range for that gold card. And the thing that really needs to be pointed out is just how hard they're camping Genja. Because of course, Kog'Maw is one of the hardest carrying, champions in the game. All of the damage that he can put out and all of the scale into the mid and the late game. By harassing him and getting him 0-4, 46 CS to the 4-0-3, 82 CS of Lamia, it's just going to delay everything. It puts Genja completely on the back foot. It prevents him getting to that hyper carry status, which Kog'Maw really, really needs. And if Fnatic can win the game by the 30-35 minute mark and not give Kog'Maw any time to ever make it into the game, that's the best thing that they can do, and they're en route to that sort of victory at this point in time.
I can't add anything to that. That's just spot on. We are going to have an Idol Durando underneath the tower. Is this enough to finish off Xpeke? Yes, it is. From Galio, who takes the Q to finish that one up nicely. In the meantime, you're going to have an action at top lane. The Stand Unite has been used from Shen. Brolaf is trying his best to pull himself back. Look at that damage from Reckless Swing. Is it going to be enough to finish off Jax? Oh, it's so close. No, it's not.
He went to one. He went to 1 hit point. One hit point. For anybody that was watching the stream and watching his hit point total on the left-hand side, it was 47, which ticked to 1, and then went up to 2, and then was followed up by the Wish. So that little half-second delay on TeamSpeak or Vent or whatever it is that they're using, unfortunately meant that Wish wasn't used. It wasn't necessary, but it does mean it's wasted and it's on cooldown.
Oh man. So maybe that's the beginning of something special for Moscow 5 to come back into this game. 13 minutes 30 through, goal difference about 5k. That's a fairly big chunk of difference this early on in the game. You're going to have some pings coming down, and Peke will be taking this blue, I am certain of that, and he'll be ganking plenty more. And as you said before, I mean, he nailed it onto Genja. They have just been trying to focus him out of the game, not allowing him to be that hyper carry that we all know and love Kog'Maw can be.
So look at the cooldowns at the moment. Paranoia is almost available. We see a whole bunch of pings coming from the bottom lane to the mid lane. It looked as though they were pinging onto Alexich to say, Crystal Arrow, Crystal Arrow. But we do see now Xpeke is moved up. Destiny is available, as is the Enchanted Crystal. Now, are we going to see another coordinated tower dive from Fnatic? At the moment, it's a little bit passive, so I'm going to wait to just see if this actually happens. Keep my eyes. I was hoping to go up to the top lane, actually, and see how that battle is going. But it just looks as though Fnatic want to once again pick up a kill onto Genja, but he can't be worth that much anymore. I mean, 0-4-0, it's not going to be beneficial gold-wise to continually camp him. Yes, you're going to put him behind farm. Yes, you're going to put him behind levels. I mean, level 7 to level 9 on Lamia. Lamia's halfway to level 10. Genja's only about to hit level 8. Huge difference. I mean, Felox's Nunu is out-leveling Genja's Kog'Maw, which is huge.
Yeah, that's kind of what that statistic won't bode very well with Genja. And if you have a look, BF Sword Pickaxe compared to 3 Doran's Blades, that bot lane is scary.
50 odd gold behind finishing Infinity Edge. So Infinity Edge, Berserker's Greaves, Vamp Scepter, and the Doran's Blade at 15 minutes. You're not going to be an unhappy Lamia. And once again, we see a lot of pings on this bottom line. We see Diamond Procs. There is a ward, so if Diamond Procs carries on walking, he's going to walk straight into the vision of Fnatic. Paranoia is available, as is Destiny. And we're just going to have to see whether or not Lamia decides to open up with this Crystal Arrow.
Look at the ward coverage as well at bot lane. Well, one of them just ran out, but they had like a square of bushes all warded there. They know they're miles ahead. They just want to make sure they keep doing this. We are going to have an absolute zero underneath the tower and an arrow. Here comes Cyanide from the back. The Unspeakable Horror is going to proc off. Destiny's taken as well from Twisted Fate, who will flash through the wall, taking out Soraka. Beautiful play from Fnatic that comes pristine, precise, and do pick up 2 kills. Lovely stuff.
And one thing that was very interesting to note, Xpeke placed the Ignite down. He moved up, did the damage, gold card into wild cards, placed Ignite, and walked away. Stepped right back, and knew that Ignite was going to pick up the kill. So really, really nicely done, and exactly like you said, the communication was great, the coordination was great, and what I liked about Xpeke's move in particular was he waited for the tower to go down, he waited for the gank, he was looking, is Flash, are there going to be flashes from Moscow 5? Where are they going to go? And then he followed it with Destiny. So great coordinated play. Infinity Edge now completed and 790 gold in the bank for Lamia. Darien in the top lane though is having a lot of fun with Soaz. 115 CS to the 110 on Soaz. And Soaz is just on the back foot. There's the counter attack. It does land. Leap Strike into Empower. If those cooldowns come back plus Ignite, I think that's going to be a dead Soaz.
He is going to recall though, so he's not going to risk it. He's not going to gamble. And this is really nice though. I mean, from a kind of spectatorial casting viewpoint, it's great to see Fnatic coming back after a lot of people would argue they've been through a bit of a slump recently. So to see them playing so well tonight, I mean, it's just awesome to actually witness.
Now, I'd like to see if this form is going to carry to LAN. They did really, really well at MLG going into it. They placed top 6. I think they were expected to play sort of top 8 or so, but from what I understand, at least according to Reddit and Twitter, there was quite a few surprises about their performances, and especially when you consider Soaz was only very recently added to the team. They haven't had the level of practice that maybe some of the other rosters had. Will Fnatic be able to carry this form into Dreamhack this weekend? That's what I'd like to know. And that's what I'd like to see, of course.
That's what I'm going to be glued to my computer watching to find out as well. I would love to see Fnatic actually make a real go of it at Dreamhack, because right now they're looking in prime condition. Baron, of course, is going to start to play a factor here. Lots of pings going off from either side around the river towards Baron. We are going to have a couple wards planted, and Soaz is going to rejoin top again. Darien is in a bit of trouble here. Reckless Swing has been landed, Undertow as well. He's going to be able to leap strike back onto his own minions and escape.
And something that needs to be pointed out, take a look at Lamia's skill build right now. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes out, that's onto Gosu Pepper. Paranoia follows up by Gold Card. Now a great Idol of Durand by Alexic manages to deal immense damage across the board. There goes the Resolute Smite, manages to pick up one more kill in the background. 1-for-1 exchange, making that a 2-for-1. Compliments of a flash, auto attack, Umbra Blades. Now Destiny's available. Looking to see if Diamond Procs was going to push that one. I think that was just to get away to safety, but huge play. As I clicked onto Lamia to look at the ability order, maxing out Hawkshot being so far in control of that lane, 5 points into Hawkshot, you consider that's an additional 5 gold per creep, sitting on 7,500 gold to 4,000 gold at the 19-minute mark, which is huge.
Wow, I actually need to point something out as well, actually. Moscow 5, I feel really sorry for Alex. He's got 196 creep score. He has, by about 50 to 60 creep score, the most on the server right now playing. And yet he's on 2 for 1, and his team are getting crushed. He must be feeling, what the hell did I do wrong here?
The thing is, they're not, they're not out of this game. And the reason I say that, Galio, Shen, Jax, and Kog'Maw scale significantly harder than Nunu, Nocturne, and Twisted Fate. Yes, Olaf is going to scale very well, but Jax is going to be able to take him out once they get sort of full item build. There comes the Stand United now in the top line. He's going to be able to try land the taunt, but of course Ragnarok means he's going to be able to get away. Unfortunately, in what was a 2v2 has now become a 3v2. There goes the Leap Strike and Empower. The very last second of the tick means that Cyanide manages to save Soaz's life, and Soaz, so brave and so cocky, runs in there, lands one more reckless swing, and actually picks up the kill. If the game gets to the... Oh, another advert break. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to yell at these admins. They missed that kill now. Compliments of the admins. So if you are listening, I'm very cross, admins. I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, the longer the game goes on, the more powerful Jax is going to become, the more powerful Galio is going to become, and the more powerful Kog'Maw is going to become.
That's very true, and I think it's a case right now of Moscow 5 just trying to hang in there. Genja and Peke are going to be coming head-to-head. In fact, the cavalry's starting to arrive now. Gold card has landed. Genja should be going down, trying his best to retaliate back onto Peke, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near enough damage to take him out. And the other thing as well that I just noticed, that we do have a Glacial Shroud picked up on Olaf and the Giant's Belt with Fade, so I'm thinking Frozen Mallet and the Frozen Heart maybe, alongside Randuin's Omen.
So the Frozen Viking is going frozen items.
Yes,
that's what it looks like right now. Also, to everybody that is back on stream, I once again apologize about the advert break. I would love it if you guys could jump onto Twitter and tweet at MMO Champions, stop playing ad breaks. That would be fantastic, because the admins appear not to want to be listening to me. And at the moment, Darien versus Soaz, the fight is going on in the top lane. Ragnarok has been used, and Soaz is trying to get away. Paranoia dives onto Darien. The Duskbringer somehow manages to miss. Destiny, followed by Gold Card into Wild Cards, means Xpeka gets just another kill. Absolutely no problems.
Yeah, I just have to feel Moscow 5 have to weather the storm for the laning phase. Diamond Proc should be going down as well. Yes, he will from Peke. So double kill there at the top lane. But it's just a case of, we said before, right at the beginning, in the picks and bans, watch out for these 3v1 sudden team fights at top lane, where Twisted Fate ultimate's in, Paranoia gets used, and suddenly Darien is in all kinds of trouble. That's exactly what's happened. If they can manage to survive the next 5 to 10 minutes, and it gets into the 5v5 team fights, you have to say Moscow 5 are going to be in a much better position than they are right now.
Well, the question is, can they survive? That is the question. Being this far behind in gold, this far behind in towers, in kills, can they drag it out? And more importantly, can Fnatic actually tower dive? If Fnatic are able to commit to a tower dive fight, which you don't want to do against an idol of Durand, but if they're able to and actually pick up some kills and then carry on forcing the game in the next 10 or 15 minutes, then they're going to win. That's the goal. But if not, if they're unable to, then it buys M5 time to get back into it.
Yeah, Alex is still farming like a boss. 245 has he Bizzle Scepter, Chalice of Harmony, and a Blasting Wand. Maybe going to Abaddon's, not too sure what he's going to be building with that one. Either way, he's going to recall, and in the meantime, Darren will be pushing at that top. He only has the Phage, the Sheen, and the Zeal. If you compare that to Olaf, who has the Frozen Heart finished off, and is building towards that Frozen Mallet too. He has 700, nearly 800 gold. Of course, it does cost 825 to finish off the Frozen Mallet, and he is going to be harassing that mid lane.
Soaz manages to stay alive somehow. We do see a Crystal Arrow coming in. Is it going to land onto anybody though? No. Flies over Soaz's head, and he manages to walk away unscathed. Well, Soaz is the good guy. Wouldn't have hit him at all. Look at the item build on Genji at the moment. 060. He's finished Triple Doran's Blades, Phantom Dancer. And 140 CS to the 194 CS on Lamia, in conjunction with all the dragons and all of those things, is huge, huge, huge.
Yeah, speaking of Dragon, another one has just been finished off from Fnatic, as Lamia and Feliox will be taking that one up very comfortably. And the items alongside Ashe are really scary. She has Last Whisper, she's got the Infinity Edge and a Zeal. For 25 minutes nearly, that is pretty impressive stuff by all accounts.
They're not driving home any additional objectives now. Yes, they're in the lead. Yes, they've got Dragon, but they're going to need to take Baron now very, very quickly, and then they're going to need to push the inhibitors down, because kills and gold don't win you games. Dead Nexi win you games, so that's really what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about that Nexus dying. You could have all the gold in the world, you could have all the kills in the world. It really comes down to those nitty-gritty team fights where separates the men from the boys. Looks like they're going to be starting off this Baron once again. Peke is in mid, so I'm not sure. They are going to pull back though. As soon as they saw Shen alongside Soraka, just went right back. We are going to have Paranoia kicking off here in the mid lane. Darian on no health whatsoever. Is going to go down. Idol of Durand used pretty much to try and pick up a kill onto Olaf, doing huge damage, but with no help from the rest of his team, there's not a great deal he could do. Peke is now on the prowl to pick up a kill. They're going to take this mid tower, and Fnatic are just looking so strong here. I can't see how Moscow 5 can pull this one back. We said they have to survive the laning phase. Doesn't look like they're able to do that.
Now, of course, this is going to be the first inhibitor of the game, and this is what Fnatic needed. Because without having that inhibitor open, but trying to take a big straight-up team fight, you've seen how much damage they took just from the Jax and the Galio alone. That in itself is going to completely decimate the Fnatic lineup when you consider they can't cancel those Idol of Durands. So now at least having the inhibitor down, and by having Expeke who can split push so effectively, and we've seen him doing it in the past, it just means that they have a stronger chance of actually being victorious from either winning through objectives or through split pushing tactics in that manner. And we do see.
Sorry, go ahead, dude.
I was just going to say, we do see the gold card landing onto Diamond Prox, but he manages to get away.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say Baron was picked up from Fnatic, and for maybe a split second there was maybe a team fight going to kick off, but not to be the case. Everyone just pulled back. It looks like Fnatic are going to recall and buy a fair few items, and come back stronger than ever.
18,000 gold at the 26th minute mark, and wow, a little bit of a graphical blank means the Enchanted Crystal Arrow takes a small second to delay. It will unfortunately mean that Darren does go down, and he still hits really hard. Trinity Force plus Empower means a big chunk of Expeke's hit points are removed. But look at Nocturne, 2-0-11, 1-0-14 Felox, 5-1-3. Every single member of Fnatic is fed and farmed, and I don't see much way for Moscow 5 to come back from this one.
Me neither. I mean, it's going to be one hell of a comeback if they can take this one. Idol of Durand is off cooldown, but I don't think he's going to bother to use it here. Peke is going to come with the gold card, has landed onto Genja, just 2 abilities, he's down to half health. Bromacia has been called out from Olaf, maybe going to be on the hunt for some more kills. Not going to be the case, as Diamond Prox will manage to survive by the skin of his teeth, pulling back to that fountain. But that is the second inhibitor that has now been taken from Fnatic, and Moscow 5 are going to have to start thinking in the back of their minds about staging some kind of a last stand here.
And there's only 1/3 of that Baron buff timer that's been used, so 2/3 of it's still remaining. It's just going to allow them to continue pushing like this, continue putting all the pressure down that they want. They've got the health regen and the mana regen to heal up any poke that they take, and you consider the DPS that can come out from Volley, from Undertow, and from those the wild cards. They've got a decent poke composition. They're so far ahead in terms of damage and items, they can commit to these big fights and just blow somebody up really quickly. And yeah, 2 inhibitors exposed. It looks like game number 1 might be going the way of Fnatic.
They're just going to have complete control over the map now. You can see the ward coverage in the jungle. There's no way that Moscow 5 are going to be able to even pick up one of their own jungle creep. So it's going to be rinsing and repeating here. As you say, there's plenty of Baron buff to go around still. Lamia and Peke starting to push themselves in. Now the sights are well truly set on this third inhibitor tower and the inhibitor afterwards. Soaz is going to take point here, trying to soak up some of that damage. He's going to throw up the undertow, and we are going to have all 10 players now at this bot tower. Genji taking a lot of damage from Peke. And again, it's just kind of that the same situation we were in last time, where that small mistake from Moscow 5, and it's a game win here. The arrow has landed from Ash, but they're not going to follow up onto this. Just going to keep spamming that tower. And it's difficult to see how Moscow 5 can pull out of this situation.
If they can get a good idol of Durand, it's going to give them a good team fight victory. But the problem is, unless they get a team ace guaranteed, you know, they've got such strong tower killing and inhibitor killing champions. Twisted Fate, Ashe, Olaf, and Nocturne can all take out towers really quickly, you know, relatively quickly. And unless they ace every single one of them, it just means Fnatic are going to turn around, you know, either try backdoor something or pick up the tower themselves. And just look at this siege over and over and over. They've taken a lot of poke and a lot of damage, but they're going to get the tower out of this. Oh, there goes a great idol of Durand, but it gets instantly cancelled. I didn't see what that was. They cancelled. It could have been the fear proc. In the background, though, Darian does manage to pick up the kill onto Lamia, so that's going to be a big chunk of bonus gold. The tower goes down in the background, and now Olaf and Nocturne turn their attentions to Genja. Genja goes down. Destiny follows up. Means that Goshu Pepper gets killed in the background. And this is a 1-for-4 trade. That blind dash onto Lamia succeeded in killing the carry, but unfortunately cost them the game as well.
I think it was a gold card from Peke that stopped the Idol of Durand there, so that's going to be game number 1 going to Fnatic. Remember, this is a best of 3, so Moscow 5 can still come back from this, but game number 1, off that basis, you have to fancy Fnatic here. They look so strong.
Unbelievable playstyle. And we are into the champion selection process. First ban, first pick this time round going to Fnatic. Of course, they were on the purple team or the red team last time round. They now get option on the blue team. They have removed Corki, so they do not want Genja playing Corki. And I want to know, what do Moscow 5 do now? How do Moscow 5 play it? That is the real question.
I think they went for Nautilus first ban last time, didn't they?
Correct. Nautilus followed up by... Oh, it was one for each of them. We've seen Needly banned, we see Nautilus banned.
It was mid, I think.
And Karthus banned.
Karthus, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. And Moscow 5 this time, removing Shen.
Yep, not wanting any part of that Shen. You can blame them, so that is going to be the I think out of 4 or 5 games tonight, we've seen Shen not banned 1 time, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
And the one time he wasn't banned, he was picked up, but unfortunately wasn't able to win the game.
Indeed, and Urgot has been banned, I think, every single game so far.
Yep.
So no one wanting to go against the weird crab type man, and who can blame them? Because I personally, every time I play against an Urgot, I just want to jump out the window. I'm so frustrated. I play a lot of AD carry. When I play against an Urgot, I lose my interest in the game. I hate him so much.
Yeah, I dislike him immensely as well. And interesting to see it being banned from Fnatic though, when you consider they've got first pick. So, you know, obviously not wanting to play him. And if I think about it, I don't think I've seen Lamia playing an Urgot before. I also don't think it suits his play style. You know, Lamia is a very position-related DPS AD carry, and Urgot is slightly more of a throw me into the mess and let everybody else pick up the kills kind of thing, if that makes sense. You know?
Yeah, it does make complete sense. He's just like a get me in there type character, whereas Ashe is a bit more, there's a bit more flair to Ashe, you know? You're trying to keep around the edges, firing off shots here, there and everywhere, and because Nautilus hasn't been banned, there you go, Fnatic going to pick that one up straight away for Cyanide.
So Ashe has, well, we haven't looked, Nautilus, sorry, yes. So Ashe is still available in the pool. I wonder if M5 are going to consider picking Ashe up, or are they going to, you know what, Ashe is not the problem, Ashe is not who we're afraid of. Nocturne is available as well, so if you want to see, Nocturne is on behalf of Diamond Procs, or even Lee Sin, you know, famous for his Lee Sin play. So a lot of options available, and it just depends what Moscow 5 want to do with it.
They have left Nocturne up, and they've got rid of a lot of globals there actually. Shen, Stand Unite, obviously Twisted Fate, Destiny, Carter's Requiem. They don't want any global kind of dominance here from Fnatic, and who can blame them? Because last game, Twisted Fate and Nocturne teared them a new one. To put it bluntly, Genja was just getting so focused down that even on Cogmorph, there's nothing that he could have done. So, looks like we're going to see a Skarner pick up. we saw this in the first game of this evening, actually. Diamond Prox taking Skarner.
I'm super excited to see that. I'm also really happy to see the Nunu being locked in because, I'm going to be yelled at if I get this wrong, but wasn't the Nunu-Karthus combination from Empire, the original team for Moscow 5, what really propelled them into the limelight and the starlight a few months ago? If I could read chat, I'd know if I was right or wrong because you guys would go crazy and tell me I'm, an idiot or I'm right, but I'm fairly sure about that. We're like 75%. And seeing Go Superpa rocking out the Nunu again would also be really great. It also removes it from the Nunu Ashe combination, which we've seen in the previous game, which did so incredibly well.
Okay, I've just been messaged by the lovely D-Man who's informed me it's Nunu Ashe Karthus. So you were basically right.
Yay! And it was Empire, wasn't it? Come on,
Yeah.
Mr. D-Man. Yes! My memory is not as terrible as I imagine it from time to time. So it is going to be a Ashe-Janna combination on the bottom line. And are we going to see an AP Soraka?
I would love to see an AP Soraka, but no, we're not. Darian just pulling the troll card once again, shattering our dreams. And interestingly enough, actually, we haven't seen a Kale tonight.
Yeah, very true. But I wonder if that's not maybe more of an NA thing. The teams that were running it, the teams that were playing, there were North American squads, North American sides. So it's potentially maybe their flavor of the month champion, if it were, as it were. And potentially Yorick and Misfortune, and I'd really like to see that because now we get a completely unconventional roster lineup from Moscow 5. And I'm almost nervous to see this because this is 2 days before, Dreamhack. And if anybody's watching these or going to be watching the VODs, could this be the secret, a secret combination or a champion collection that Moscow 5 has been practicing or, putting together to potentially counter certain abilities or whatever the story is,
Well, I'm kind of a bit puzzled about Misfortune because generally, you actually hinted at this before, you typically take a Misfortune against a character like Mundo or Soraka or something like that because of the impure shots, the kind of healing debuff. So to take her against this lineup is a bit kind of, I'm not too sure. I mean, I like her as an AD carry, I think she's a good AD carry, but typically Misfortune is good against Mundo. That's when you normally see her played.
Yeah, and I'd like to see if they're going to take a Galio now. Because if you do the combination of Absolute Zero, Bullet Time, and Idol of Durand, and you allow Skarner and Yorick to just beat people in the face with all the ghouls, that is hugely powerful. I'm not believing Warwick. Thank you for clicking him, but I don't believe it at this stage in time, and I would like to see who you're actually going to be picking.
Yeah, I think quick shots call them BS here.
Yeah, exactly. But let's look at the Fnatic lineup right now. You've got lots of single target Ashe. Well, actually, you've got quite a good AoE damage now that I look at it a bit more accurately. Glacial Storm, you've got the sort of double AP of Anivia in the mid and Vladimir up on the top lane. If you combine the Sanguine Pool with the burst that Anivia has and the sustained DPS that Lamia has, you've got a great damage potential. But this is not a very good protect the Lamia roster. Vlad is going to Sanguine Pool as soon as the scene gets a bit too hot and hairy. And it's just going to create a clear runway to Lamia, which Yorick, Skarner, Rise are going to be gladly rushing as quickly as they can to the enemies.
Yeah, so Warwick, and then I think I saw Xin Zhao as well, but it has been switched over to Rise, as you said. So interesting team comps. Anivia is going to be taken from Peke. We saw this before. I kind of called him the backdoor bandit because he kept coming around the back of the towers and killing people. So two interesting compositions actually. So Rise is going to be taking Vladimir. So you're going to have the double AP getting taken from Fnatic. Nautilus in jungle, very gank heavy. And then bot lane, you're going to have Janna and Ashe. So overall, Fnatic actually have a really tasty lineup here.
We've got an unconventional lineup now from Moscow 5. I'm unsure what to think of it because you're not going to be able to get the real maximum exposure. Oh, maybe there was a bug. So we are going to have a remake there. Cyanide deciding to troll. Apparently we are going to recreate this one in blind pick, so sorry about the small delay. I have no idea why we're recreating this. And for some reason it's not letting me quit the game.
Same. This is like Groundhog Day or something.
Anger! Okay, well maybe when the last player quits, that might be enough to sort us out. So yeah, there was some sort of connection error. Very sorry about that, guys. We have no idea what caused it, but as soon as we get the invite for the next game, we will be live in game number 2. I would love to know what your predictions are. Who do you guys think is actually going to win this one? You know, Fnatic played... Oh, did I accept that? Yes, I did. A little bit of lag, though. So, blind pick. I am now into the spectator slot. So, yeah, spam that chat, guys. Let me know who do you think is going to be victorious this time round. Of course, Fnatic doing so well in game number 1. Moscow 5 looking a little bit out of shape. You know, it's not often you see them getting, I don't want to use the word dominated, but, you know, really shut down that hard. We are waiting for Matuz to jump to the spectator slot.
Sorry, my bad.
There we go. I'm looking at it, I'm like, hang on a minute. That's not Fnatic.
I took a quick drink and I instantly regretted it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I tried to have a little bit of a cookie earlier, and oh man, I've just been booted from the lobby.
So have I. Yeah, it must be another bug.
Alright, so we're going to see what's happening. Sorry about this at the moment. I have no idea what is causing this. Right, I'm into spectator slot now. You should get your invite shortly.
Yep, just got it.
Yeah, so no idea what caused that bug. Very sorry about that one, but we are back, and we are going to be looking at the second game in the best of 3. Of course, if Moscow 5 win this one, it's going to be pushing it through to the third game. Alternatively, if Fnatic win this one, they close it out without dropping a single game today. Redo. But you can see it's starting to get just a little bit late for us. My brain is already starting to melt to the floor.
Mine melted about 2 hours ago. I've been running on fumes ever since, but I've had a brilliant time. I've really appreciated you invited me into cast alongside you. It's been great fun.
Yeah, mad props. Thank you for joining. It's been a really great evening. And of course, everybody that's on stream, if you've had a bit of fun with us, follow us on Facebook. It helps us out because, you know, we can advertise that, you know, when we're streaming, the events that we're doing and whatnot, and it keeps us in the casting game. So if you've enjoyed it, facebook.com/metuztv. That's METUZ TV. And of course, facebook.com/quickshot. That's for me, QU1KSH0T. Blind pick remake. So don't freak out. Bans and picks have already taken place. And we're going to see if this unorthodox Moscow 5 roster can take out the slightly more standard double AP from Fnatic. What do you think of the combinations of abilities? You know, Absolute Zero, the AoE slow, in conjunction with the bullet time, and then sort of the single target type of focus from a Yorick and a Rise. They do have AoE damage, but you know they tend to stick to one dude.
I'm finding it difficult to see how Moscow 5 are going to get themselves in the face here of Fnatic, actually, because we mentioned this last time as well. When you're against an Anivia, especially like a Peke, he's going to put those walls down, perfect placement every single time. So if Skarner goes in to try and pick up Ashe, for example, try and focus out the AD carry of the team fight, Anivia's just going to be able to block off the wall, and suddenly Skarner's going to be all on his own. So it's really going to come down to those team plays again. Darian should have a fairly good time at top lane. Yorick is incredibly harassment based at top, but it's really going to come down here to those team fights, I have to feel. Misfortune for me is she's an odd pick, but Genja of course goes without saying how great he is at AD carrying, so he can make it work.
I'd like to see if the sustain of Vladimir is going to be able to get to the sustain of that Yorick. Exactly like you said, he's so aggressive. He's going to be able to pick up, you know, probably the Tear of the Goddess, or maybe even just go straight into the likes of a Frozen Heart. It won't be ideal against a Vladimir because, of course, his damage is predominantly magic-based. but it will work pretty effectively against you know, the attack damage of Lamia and mitigate some of that attack damage of Cyanide. We are into the 3-minute delay. Rise versus Nivea in the middle. I think that's going to come down to player skill and player ability, as well as ganking. I don't know if Rise has enough DPS to get through an Anivia and an egg of Anivia without significant help from Diamond Prox's Skarner.
Yeah, fully agree, fully agree. And the thing about Skarner is, until he hits level 6 and he gets the get over here move, he's not exactly massive on CC. Yes, he has the slows, but he doesn't have, for example, a dredge line that Nautilus brings to the table. He doesn't have a twisted advance that a Maokai will. So until he hits level 6, Anivia can feel pretty comfortable in mid. She's not going to be under a great deal of pressure. She's not going to be under a great deal of danger.
Now, what do you think about this bottom lane? We've got Lamia and Felox rocking out the Ashe-Janna combination. Nothing we haven't seen before, you know, not too unusual. But they're going to be coming up against Genja, Gosu Pepper, Misfortune, and Nunu. Impure Shot is going to be dealing attack. It's going to be giving attack speed, as well as dealing additional magic damage per hit. Combine that with the Blood Boil and the Ice Blast that's going to be slowing down somebody, you know, either Lamia or Felox. And Misfortune is going to be shooting a mile a minute with all that magic damage stacking up as well. Which lane do you think is the advantage?
It's interesting for me because if you actually have a look, there is no heals whatsoever at the bot lane for Fnatic. They don't have a summoner heal. Janna obviously doesn't give heals. She gives the Eye of the Storm, the shield, which gives you an AD buff and of course absorbs damage. So in that sense, if Misfortune and Nunu can be really harassment based, Lamia's going to get forced out that lane pretty often. It's going to come down again to that placement. It's going to come down to the mechanics of each player's. But I'm finding it quite difficult to call either way here actually. But I'll throw it right back at you. How are you feeling about it?
The only thing that I can think of is whether or not Phalanx is going to get those Eye of the Storms up in time. Because the Eye of the Storm is going to reduce some of the damage. The Cyclone is going to be able to interrupt Genja's attack speeds. And if they're able to get the damage onto Genja or Gosu Pepper during that time frame, maybe they can turn it around. But if not, the double ups and the movement speed and the harassment that Gosu Pepper and Genja are going to put down is going to make life very difficult for Lamia and Felox. So, as is usual, guys, the last 30 seconds, I'm going to throw up a very quick advert break. And when we are back, game number 2 of the grand final will be live. I also just realized I did not look at a single rune page that entire time. So I apologize to those of you who are on stream and were used to looking at them. I just completely spaced on that.
Yeah, so did I actually. So I apologise too. Let's have a quick look at Yorick actually. Darian. 11 mana regen per 5 at level 18, plus 15 physical damage at level 1 obviously, and plus 12 magic resist. So he's really going for that mana regen as you'd expect. He has to spam away those abilities time and time again.
Yeah, he's going to need them, especially that Omen of War, Omen of Famine rather, because that's going to keep giving him his hit points back. If he's going to be playing for the sustain, that's what he's going to be leveling up. If he's going to be playing for DPS, he'll be leveling up, you know, Art of War. I think if I recall correctly, I've seen a lot of the EU Yorick's leveling up their Omen of Pestilence, which is the W, and that is predominantly just for the slow. The amount of slow it can put down and the AoE damage is actually pretty high for farming. Skin-wise, I've got to give it to Moscow 5.
Yeah, I'd agree. Moscow 5 slightly ahead. I do love that Nautilus skin. But a bit disappointed so as he doesn't have, is it the Brood Lord Vladimir, I think? Legendary skin?
Oh, no. That's the Count Vladimir Awesomeness of Amazing Dracula-ness skin.
Oh, sorry, I'm saying, is it the legendary skin for Vladimir, the Brood Lord? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, technically I think it's Bloodlord Vladimir.
Bloodlord, okay.
Yeah, but I summarized that. I summarized that into epic amazingness of awesome skin. Are we going to see another first blood early? Xpeka's lined up, but I don't think the range on that Flash Frost is enough. Look at this setup at the moment.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there's the Flash Frost. It is going to miss, unfortunately, for Fnatic, but luckily for Darian. One step is all that it would have taken. One step.
That was almost a kind of a mirror image of the last map actually, where obviously instead of being at the top, Fnatic came through the bottom and caught Genja out, and had that Flash Frost have hit, I mean Darian would have been in all kinds of troubles there. So very, very close, but not going to be picking up the first blood this time, Fnatic.
And a pretty defensive start otherwise. You know, Moscow 5, they were covering their entrances. Fnatic tried to make something happen. It did not. And now they've fallen back to sort of the standard, cover your entrances, cover your jungles.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a fairly standard start here, although having said that, Gosu Pepper and Genja are going to be pushing aggressively onto Wraith. Need to be careful because Peke's come around the corner, has landed the Flash Frost onto Gosu Pepper. There's Nautilus as well. Ignite has been popped off, a failed flash for Gosu Pepper. That's going to be first blood going to Cyanide. Now going to be going to Genja, who's forced the flash away, but Vladimir's in hot pursuit. Ignite has been popped down. Rai's going to try his best to mount some kind of resilience. Genja may not be going down. Another Ignite has been popped. Never mind that, he will be getting taken out from Vladimir. And that all started from a hyper-aggressive push there from Gosu Pepper, a misfortune, onto the Wraiths.
And being caught out, unfortunately. So once again, Fnatic off to a 2-0 start before the 4-minute mark. Could this be the start of another snowball?
Well, you have to say, I mean, Moscow 5, after getting their asses handed to them so hard last game, really needed a kind of stable beginning. So to lose 2 players that quickly over something really that minuscule, it's really not going to bode too well for them. 2 kills have gone down, first blood to Nautilus, second to Vladimir, which is going to give Vladimir a nice chunk of change at top lane. It's going to be quite interesting to see how Moscow 5 bounce back from this if they can.
How do the kills actually get split? 1 to Vlad, 1 to Nautilus, so it's not necessarily as game-changing as if the kills had gone to maybe Lamia and Anivia. You know, Vlad's going to have a little bit of a tough time in that top lane against Yorick. And look at the damage on the bottom lane now. And it's a little bit of split focus, starting off on Gosu Pepper, then turning to Genja. But just that extra gold for Vladimir is going to help him out a little bit against Yorick. And of course, Nautilus is going to speed him up maybe towards those boots of mobility that we've seen several times before. But I still think Yorick has the advantage in the top lane, and mid lane is going to come down to player skill and positioning. Only 1,000 gold, well, 1,000 gold at 3 minutes, that is a fairly decent number. Can't really say too much about that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the kill that Lamia didn't necessarily get, but she's literally, obviously I'm talking about Ashe, literally a level above Misfortune and Gosu Pepper, so that Ashe arrow is going to be coming into play just a slight bit earlier for Lamia. So definitely one to watch out for. Peke is coming towards bot lane, so maybe there is going to be a gank on the cards here. Going to be going into that bush. Very aggressive play from Peke, trying to gank at level 3. So again, they're going to try and really harass this bot lane. She has landed the Flash Frost and the Frostbite as well. Gosu Pepper will be getting dropped. Wow.
I am rewinding that and putting that in slow motion because Peke, dude, I mean, okay, so watch this out. Throws out the Flash Frost, immediately follows it up with a Frostbite. Howling Gale goes up, auto attack, into volley, into auto attack, and wow. I don't think I've ever seen Fnatic play this phenomenally well.
They're looking mega strong, man. The signs are looking good for Dreamhack, I'll put it that way. Peke doesn't seem to care if he's playing TF with a global ultimate or just going to chill out Anivia walking down to bot lane. He's going to pick up kills there. And he's becoming Genja's worst nightmare.
And this is something that I've actually said this to a couple of personal friends over the course of the last week or two. League of Legends is a fairly slow-paced MOBA in terms of, you know, you've got a static laning phase. There's very little that you can do in terms of the different champions that you're going to, you know, if you play an AD carry, you tend to always build in the same way. Oh, there's so much aggression now from Moscow 5 on this top line. I'm not actually going to push for anything. And when I watched that OGN tournament in Korea, they ganked at low levels. They pushed behind towers. You know, they weren't afraid to invade significantly. And it was almost like watching a game of Dota, where, you know, they're always moving, they're always ganking. You've got different lane setups, and a lot of damage going on to Xpeke now from Alexic, but he doesn't really have enough to pick up the kill and then kill the egg. Now Xpeke's come back. A flash from Alexic gets him to safety. And, you know, watching the way Fnatic are playing now, level 3, moving to that bottom line, not having too many abilities, but still ganking successfully and then going back to the game. It's really, really cool to watch, and I hope more teams start to do it.
Well, we're going to see Diamond Prox and Cyanide coming head-to-head. Rune Prison has been popped off. Edgeline will get Cyanide slightly further away. Flash Frost not quite landing though from Peke, and Cyanide could be going down here. They consistently get harassed. Beautiful wall though from Peke to save Cyanide. And just going back to the point you're making before, it's like Fnatic have this flair, this exuberance about them, and it's really beautiful to watch actually. Very, very enjoyable.
We'll have to see if they can keep it up. 1,000 gold ahead, 3 kills at the 6-minute mark, and having all the kills and all the gold in the world doesn't get you a map, doesn't get you a game, and it doesn't get you the title of MMO Champions, League of Champions victor. But so far, Fnatic looking really, really strong in game number 2 of this best of 3. Kills at the moment, 1 on Lamia, 1 on Vlad, 1 on Nautilus. Xpeke, the only one not to pick up a kill thus far, and you've got to think that he's been integral in all of the kills so far already.
Yeah, we're going to have Cyanide with the boots mobility again, surprise, surprise. He likes to be that mobile ganking diver that we've seen a couple times tonight already. Also has the components for the Philosopher's Stone, but needs to wait a bit longer. Nice damage from Anivia onto Alex. Ignite has been popped off as well. Frostbite will land. Is it enough damage? He is going to come in for the last beautiful flash to finish off with the auto attack. And here comes Cyanide from the bottom onto Diamond Prox. I don't think they're going to bother this, but again, Peke, he went out of superlatives for this guy. He's just so damn good.
Cyanide as well, managing to land that dredge line point blank onto the caster minion. Was hoping to land it onto Diamond Prox's Skarner, but just unlucky there that, you know, this creep was 1 millimeter to the side. It ended up meaning that it got picked up. Now we do see a blue buff steal coming out for Xpeke. So that's going to go down to Anivia in the middle lane. And it's going to allow the next blue buff to be picked up by Cyanide, and that helps so much on Nautilus. It really lets him jungle faster. It keeps his cooldowns, you know, on his abilities up, and the mana regen, especially when you consider that Titan's Wrath shield of his costs about 100 mana once you get a couple of points into it. It's a very expensive ability to keep running.
Yeah, so it's going to do him the world of good here. Anivia starting off, I'm not too sure what that wall was actually. You see, just randomly wall the blue.
Probably for vision. That would most likely have been it.
Okay. Yeah,
just to
sense.
see, is something there, is something happening. That's my assumption anyway, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, considering he's 1-0-2 in the grand final.
Well, as soon as he said vision, I was like, yeah, that's it, straight away. But yeah, he's doing a great job. Obviously, Cyanide has picked up the Philo Stone as well, so going nice for him. How is top looking? Haven't really gave him too much love. Not a great deal's happened, so Vladimir's going to be on 59, and Yorick is on 61, so very, very even there. And yeah, not too much is going on. It's just that kind of that farming phase, that static farming phase that we've talked about so much.
And at the moment, Vladimir, he does have his Hextech Revolver completed. Darian does have that Tear of the Goddess and the Longsword, so getting very, very close to finishing off that Manamune. But look at the damage that he's managing to put down. Let's see what he's leveling up. 4 points into Omen of War, 2 points into that Omen of Pestilence, and we do see Diamond Prox moving up. That exoskeleton, the crystalline exoskeleton has been used. Impale is available. Sanguine Pool pop from Soaz. Unfortunately, not able to get away from the flash of Diamond Prox. And a pretty easy kill for Moscow 5. That puts them on the scoreboard. And is it going to be enough? That is the question. Is it going to be the start of Moscow 5's game? Because without being too rude, until that moment, they haven't really been playing this game just yet.
Well, I think it's just stating a fact. You know, Moscow 5 have definitely been second best in this game. We are going to have an arrow coming out from Ash there. The depth charge straight afterwards. Genshin is getting crushed here. ASOS has been popped as well. And the beautiful dredge line pulling him back into contention. Will Lamy be able to finish this one off? Yes, he will. And that's going to be Genja once again getting focused down from 3 players.
And it must suck. If you are Genja right now, you must be raging at the Fnatic lineup. Leave me alone. You know, what did I ever do to you guys? Because they've been camping him 2 games in a row and to phenomenal success.
You know, I think obviously he's going to be disappointed. He's probably going to be pretty mad, but he should be flattered as well, you know, because they're obviously thinking, they're targeting him as a danger man. They want him out of the equation as a threat. So they have focused him very successfully as well, may I add, in both of these games. He's currently on 0-2-0. He has, actually he's ahead of Ash. So even though he's been focused twice, he's still ahead of her. So he's doing a nice job.
And you can assume that's going to be down to the harassment, though. We can assume that because, you know, Lamia's probably been focusing on trying to pick up those kills and trying to set up a situation where a kill can happen. That's why he's fell behind on the farm. But even though, you know, he's, 6 creeps behind, what's that, 120 gold on average?
Yeah.
He's got 200 odd gold for his kill and 2 assists, so he's 300, 400 gold, technically a little bit further ahead. What does it actually work out to? 3,000 gold in the bank to the 2,700. So there we go. The kills and the assists making up that difference in farm.
Yeah, we have a dragon for Fnatic, but Skarner is lurking towards his jungle. Bot lane starting to make a move as well. I don't think they're going to get here in time, and Anivia has actually sneaked away around the back. So Skarner doing the smart thing actually and pulling himself back there. Dragon has been taken down, so early gold. Bullet time I just heard there going off. I think that was to clear the creeps more than anything else. I'm going to come down. Ash Arrow has landed on Genja once again. Depth charge, a carbon copy of just a couple moments ago. And this result is going to be the same. Monsoon pushing Genja against the wall. And I think he's just going to go into CBA mode pretty soon here. Gosu Pepper trying his best to escape. Janna flashing actually onto the tower, getting herself killed. And giving the kill to Diamond Prox. But again, Genja just getting focused down.
So really, really great coordination from Fnatic. Something to point out there, Diamond Prox is wearing the Oracle's Elixir and has been for a couple of minutes. We actually seen a few moments ago that Expeke moved down towards the river, placed a ward, and the very second he placed the ward, Diamond Prox just stopped, turned around, deleted it, and carried on with his jungle route. It's so frustrating when that happens. But it is a fairly risky investment when you consider how far ahead Fnatic are in terms of kills and the aggressive playstyle that they're doing, you know. Diamond Prox is very, very confident in his play in his Skarner to pick that up. And Anivia, or Expeke, Tear of the Goddess, Merc Treads, and Chalice of Harmony. Who needs ability power when you're a mage? You just need mana, according to Expeke.
Yeah, well, it's been working from thus far, and it is risky from Diamond Prox, but it could pay off, because if he can get rid of those wards and consistently keep the vision low here for Fnatic, it means they can start to get some ganks on the go. And I think that's where Diamond's coming from here. He realizes that they're behind on gold, behind on kills, behind on towers as well. It's not looking too good for them, but if he can make this Oracle work for his team and get some ganks together, it could very well pay off. In the meantime, Darian is going to get ganked off 3 players. In fact, he flashes in to try and finish off Soaz, so he's going all in for the kill here. Flash Frost lands right on his backside. Ignite has been used as well. He in turn uses his Ignite onto Soaz, but it's not enough to pick up the kill. So that flash really actually sealed the deal for his death there. And even with his ultimate on, it's not going to be able to do anything.
I think Soaz was really, really close to going down. He managed to get in range of one of those ghouls of Yorick. Use a transfusion, got just enough life back to, I think, survive that Ignite. It would have been very, very close if it wasn't the case. But once again, a team gank coming out from Fnatic, you know, not just relying on jungler and top lane. They, you know, Expeke came up, he pushed up from the mid, he, you know, used the crystallized wall, used that flash frost, and the teamwork is just really, really good from Fnatic at the moment.
The thing that confuses me a tiny bit is, when I think of Diamond Prox jungling, I think of a Shyvana, I think of a Lee Sin, I think of a character like that. And I can't help but feel, if he was playing Lee Sin here, I'm not putting this down Diamond Prox by any means, but if you have a look at the ganks, from Fnatic compared to Moscow 5, there's a big discrepancy there. Fnatic have been ganking. Diamond Prox hasn't really played a huge role so far in this game. If he was playing Lee Sin, I have to feel that he'd have been much more active, counter jungling, and also much more active ganking. We haven't really seen Diamond Prox counter jungle in these games.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Diamond Prox at all, but you've also got to remember that that could potentially be because of the fact that Cyanide has been so aggressive. You know, because Cyanide has successfully picked up these ganks, you know, multiple times in multiple games, you can't help your lanes because they're that far behind, and the ganking potential of a Skarner is just not at the same level as as a Nautilus. You know, ban Cyanide and now it's ganking potential. It's just one of those nights, you know. But I mean, 104, those boots of mobility, the fact that he can, you know, he's got so much AoE, he can clear camps very, very quickly now that he's got some levels, you know, maxed out Titan's Wrath. It really does clean out those waves very, very fast, or those camps. and it just allows him to continually be in lanes. Now we do see Diamond Prox, he gets crystallized off, and a great flash frost from Expeke. Flash forward, the crystal arrow lands, followed up by the depth charge. There goes the brilliant flash frost into flash over the wall from Expeke. And you know what? I think I don't think Anivia is a Froggen champion anymore. The way Expeke is playing that champion is really, really good. It's exactly like watching a dominant fed Froggen. And the little bit that I've seen of Alexic earlier as well, he showed very clearly that he's just as strong on Anivia. And I think Dreamhack LAN is going to be a very, very good competition to watch.
You know, if Fnatic can keep up this pace in Dreamhack, I don't see a reason they can't win it. Really, they're looking so good. Incredible, really. Wow.
Yeah, there's very little else that you can say other than wow. If Mr. D-Man is listening in or still watching, I'd love to hear your predictions now. Has it changed at all? Because we were having a discussion a little bit earlier today, and he was feeling very strongly that Moscow 5 on LAN are another monster, and it is true. You know, LAN is another beast to online. You know, it's a different environment. It's louder, the noises, the comfortability. You know, you're not sitting at your home. But of course, Fnatic at the moment, they're sitting at a boot camp. Fnatic Harry was saying earlier, they've got a whole bunch of photos and videos up from their boot camp, and I'm going to assume Moscow 5 are doing the same. But who can pull it off on LAN? Who's going to be, you know, the team that walks away with the big money?
Definitely, and that's why I said if they can keep up this pace, if they're this good at LAN, they're going to be a real force to be reckoned with. But as you say, I mean, LAN is a whole different ball game. Much more kind of pressures are involved. You're not in the comfort of your own home, etc., etc., etc. So, but you know, off this basis, Fnatic are looking really good. And you know, if you go back a few weeks ago, where a lot of people viewed Fnatic as in a real slump, to see them performing this well is just awesome.
Well, there goes the crystal arrow. Dredge line misses as well, and unfortunately nobody catches up. That immediately signals Moscow 5 to attack. And a very nice crystal wall just says, thank you for trying, but please go away. A very nice flash frost. That lands onto Diamond Prox, and look at the damage from that. Flash frost into the frostbite. Chunks him down. There goes the flash frost over that. Manages to lock up Darien. Dredgeline pulls him backwards. Hemoplay catches 3 out of the 5 members. Genja is forcing Expeke back. The first kill is going to be Soaz in the background. Depth Charge manages to capture every single member of Moscow 5 except for Genja. As he's sitting on the other side, Lamia with a double kill is going to be focused down. Finally killed from Moscow 5. And a flash from Felix going to put him to safety. But 2-for-2 exchange. If Moscow 5 can pick up the Dragon, they're not that far behind in gold. But Expeke is running low on mana. The Flash Frost does manage to pick up one last auto attack, gives him another kill. Knockups in the background. Cyanide should go down. A flash from Genja. Ignite manages to land on Diamond Prox, and Expeke gets egged, but is it going to be enough? Do they have the damage? There goes the Shirelia's Reverie trying to run away, and 3-for-3 exchange at the end of the day, but you can't help but feel even exchanges is not going to help Moscow 5 get back into this game.
Yeah, Hero Janna. Just, you know, and if he's in egg form and she, right to the bitter end, she's going to support her all the way. So a nice play there. 11-5, goal difference about not 2k, sorry, my maths is going out the window as well. 3k, and for 20 minutes through the game, it's a bit of a difference, but Moscow 5 are definitely still in this matchup, can still come back from this. How is their kills looking at the moment? Rise is on 2-for-2, Skarner 1-for-1, Misfortune 1-for-3, Yorick 1-for-2, and finally Nunu 0-for-3. What are the items being built up? Misfortune has a BF sword, you've got a Manamune on Yorick, and a Spirit Visage for Yorick as well. So fairly interesting stuff. It looks like it could be a dragon going down for Moscow 5.
It looks like they should be able to pick this one up as well. Cyanide is moving in there. Depth Charge is available. Asher lands onto Diamond Prox. The Smite actually goes down. So Fnatic pick up Drake. Lamia now manages to get impaled. Completely out of position in the middle of 4 Moscow 5 players. That was a terrible angle to come in from. I hate split pushes. Soaz is now forced to use that Sanguine Pool to safety. They do manage to steal Dragon though for 1 death. So technically speaking, once again, the trade comes out in their favor.
It does. I agree. Split pushes don't really work too often. They do sometimes, depending on the situation, but especially when it's your AD carry, and especially when you're against a Skarner. Lamia instantly got impaled from Skarner, and she was dead within a heartbeat. So, Ashe I'm talking about, of course. So, it's one of those kind of situations, again, where you have to be very careful where you walk against this Moscow 5 lineup, because you've got the Rune Prison, you've got the Impale, and you can
We
get
do
killed
have a
very
fight in
quickly.
the top lane at the moment. Hemoplague has been used. That's going to pop. Darren is trying to put some damage down, and Soaz waiting for the cooldowns, not willing to stay in that fight longer. Ignite was not available for Darien. Had it been, maybe it would have been enough to pick up that kill. But exactly like you mentioned, coming up from behind alone, especially against the single target Impale, I've said so many times, every time I cast a dragon fight and I look at those positions, those split engagements so rarely work. You really need reliable hard CC in order for it to be successful. And even then, you've really got to dive balls deep to actually pick up a successful win. And coming in split 3 and 2 and 4 and 1, I'm just not a fan, and it's too risky. A 5-man concentrated group is going to blow anyone up that's coming in alone.
Yeah, for sure. And Lamia just found out the hard way right there. Let's have a quick look. It does just manage to recall, so as was hot in pursuit there. Couple pings going down, lots of wards being planted from Janna, so they have nice control around this blue buff. Misfortune in that bot, so maybe half thinking about trying something a bit sneaky. And that top tier tower actually is still up for the purple team, so maybe Vladimir is going to go ahead and try and push this one right now.
How are we doing in terms of farm across the board? Top lane, 150 to 169. Mid lane, 190 to 182. Bottom lane, we do see the Ashe arrow being dodged, compliments of a great flash. Bottom lane is 135 to 157, so a small numbers advantage in favor of Moscow 5. And of course, 4-2-3 is always better than 1-3-2. And we do see a dive on the top lane. Cyanide's moved forward, considering taking out the tower. Now he's turned his attention to Darien. Now they're going to turn their attention back to the tower to pick that up, I'm sure. Hemoplague and the depth charge is going to be able to knock up Darren for a couple of seconds. Cyanide waiting for that dredge line. Uses a long-range dredge line. Now gets impaled from Diamond Procs. He's going to eventually manage to pick up the kill onto Darien. Now Darien's ghost is running around putting as much damage down as he can. Felix uses that monsoon to force everybody backwards. Cyanide is going to go down in this fight, and now Felix might go down as well. We're going to have to see whether or not he can get away from it. The slows from the Crystal Slash in conjunction with the Rune Prison Overload. Spell Flux is going to be enough. And 1 for 2 now. Xpeke wants to pick a fight, but I don't think you should be fighting 1v3. You're ahead, but you're not that far ahead. And red buff as well as Crystal Slash is so high. That's going to be a dead Xpeke. He's not going to be able to get away from that one, unfortunately. And Granger actually picks up the kill steal with that double up ability of hers.
That was just a really poor fight all over there for Fnatic actually. Lamia was at bot lane, so she was in no position. I keep calling her she, I'm talking about Ashe. He was in no position to actually be any part of that team fight as it kicked off. So, a bit of a questionable... Oh my god, look at that ulti from Lamia. Gonna come through as well. Beautiful play from him. Lands the ultimate, flashes through, lands the volley to pick up the kill on Gosu Pepper. And what about that for a play? 13-9 to scoreline. Soaz is going to try and harass this mid and wait for the rest of his team to respawn.
Lamia too strong. Lamia too strong. That is for sure.
So, just having a quick browse on some of the items here. Large Rod has been finished on Vladimir, and he also does have the blasting one. Now, would you go for a Rabadon's death cap first with Vladimir in this situation? Would he go Zoni's Hourglass?
Taking a look at the fact that he's, he hasn't really been in control of his lane, even though his team is in control of the map and the match, he hasn't really been completely stomping. So going for the utility, going for maybe the hit points of the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, which is what it looks like to me. The book as well as the blasting one, he does have a KG's Lucky Pick, so that could even be going into a Deathfire Grasp for the burst. There's a lot of options available. Considering the team he has though, I would go Rylai's and then the Hourglass. He needs the survivability. He needs to be able to get into a fight and drag out the amount of time it takes for him to stay alive. If they focus him, the longer he stays alive, the more time Xpeke and Lamia have to deal damage. If they don't focus him, the more damage he can deal by going for a Rylai's, and adding the utility of the slow is going to help a lot as well. You know, then you've got the slow from there. You've got no hard CC other than the Ash Arrow, and, well, I lied, there's actually quite a bit. But you can land your CC more effectively if you're using those Tides of Bloods and the Rylai's slow. So I prefer the utility in this lineup because they don't have a meat shield. You know, they don't have a Jax and a Shen and like they have in previous games.
Oh, Lamia, oh look at that damage from Misfortune, that's crazy stuff from her. Arrow has been used just trying to alleviate the pressure, but it delays the inevitable there, as Yorick will be picking up that kill. And Misfortune's damage is absolutely ridiculous. She just has the Affinity Edge, and it was pretty much 3-shotting Ash there. So the AD carry is out for another 25 seconds. Baron was started from Fnatic, but they are going to pull themselves back. And maybe Moscow 5 are going to go for it here while they sense some weakness.
And of course, this could be considered a change in the pace of the game. Moscow 5 now no longer on the back foot. They've got a bit more of an advantage here. They now turn their attention to Baron, and if they can pick this Baron buff up, it may be enough to actually balance out the gold difference and balance out the gold. We do see Alex actually dives onto Expeke, putting a lot of damage down. In the background, Cyanide is tanking 1 versus 4. He's now pushed forward. The first one to go down might be Alexic in the background. He's going to be able to walk away. Baron buff has been stopped, but now Lamia is so far away, not involved in the fight. Means that he cannot deal with damage. He cannot wrap up any of these kills. Now they turn their attention back to Baron. So they've given... Ooh, that was a horrible click. They've given away 2 kills. But is it going to be enough to delay this Baron? Is it enough to justify it? Alexic is super low. Darian is super low. Lamia so badly wants to commit. First kill goes from Expeke. Now they've turned their attention. Lamia is going to be committing to this one. Ignite is down onto Darian. It's not going to be enough to pick up the kill. Volley will pick up 1. Darian is now going to be trying to get away, and I think he's going to try to deny himself in a tower if possible.
Man, oh man, oh man. I thought Moscow 5 had that Baron in the bag. But Lamia out of nowhere is going to pick up yet another kill. That's the 3rd. And now perhaps Fnatic are going to go ahead and try this Baron. As Nivea is starting to push away up. Nautilus is en route, as is Vladimir. So they will be starting off Baron, and they should be able to pick this up. Look at Moscow 5. 3 players still on the bench. The 2 remaining are just starting to move their way towards Baron.
And Nivea taking a lot of damage there. Eye of the Storm used to protect or give that additional hit points. Going down a little bit slower than what you might expect actually with all 4 of them bashing away. But the only consistent DPS was Lamia. And a little bit of a fail ward from Diamond Prox. You can see the pressure. You know, moving up to that wall, trying to get it over the wall and trying to actually get vision on that Baron buff and then failing it. So unfortunate. And just like you mentioned, Zhonya's Hourglass picked up on Soaz, opting to go for the survivability, opting to go for that protection against all of the auto attacks that Diamond Prox, Genja, and Darian are putting down, as well as all those ghouls. Remember, each of those summon ghouls deal physical damage, which is of course mitigated by armor. And survivability on Vlad, keep him alive, allow him to either, you know, clean up or just stay in the fight longer. And the sustain that he's got with the revolver and with all of his abilities inherently, it's just going to make him more difficult to deal with.
So you're going to have 2 Reveries actually picked up here for Fnatic, who are now going to be going onto this Dragon. On the flip side, just Skana has one for Moscow 5. You're going to have 2 Glacial Shrouds for Moscow 5 on Ryze and Yorick respectively. And an Aegis of the Legion has been finished off on Nautilus. So nice items coming all over the map. And you have to say that Ashe, Lamia is doing so much damage. Last Whisper, Bloodthirster on nearly max stacks, and a Phantom Dancer on top of all of that.
And that explains why they're eventually going for that double Frozen Heart, you know. Reduce all of that attack damage, and it's scary to think now that Expeke and Vlad are not being really counted in terms of magic resist. So, yeah, you're going to reduce the damage Lamia is dealing, but then, you know, Soaz and Expeke are just going to be able to mount you guys with all the magic bursts that they can put down respectively. So there goes a very good crystallized wall. Channel everybody into that small little gap. If anybody was willing to step forward, 1 Flash Frost would have locked them up and completely killed them. And you can see that there's been a lot of thought into how to play a Nivea. Expeke's, you know, that wall was greatly done, and I must admit I haven't made a conscious thought of it before. And there, once again, locking them out. Now, that's a slightly more common wall that you see, but lock them out, deal the damage onto the tower, and just keep poking it until you can eventually take the tower down.
Anivia is just one of those kind of characters who makes the battlefield very claustrophobic for her enemy. She tries to maneuver them. It's like a game of chess with Anivia. You want to make sure you make them move where you want them to. So there you go, again, she's going to block out one side, allow the rest of her team to just try and take some damage onto that tower. And if they keep rinsing and repeating here, the inhib tower will be going down. So it's just a case of poke, 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 take the inhib tower down, take the inhib town, and then just be even stronger than you were before.
And down to the last 25% of Baron buff. So this poke comp, this poke strategy is going to become slightly less effective once that disappears. We do see a little bit more of an engagement here from Fnatic. They're considering for the fight. There goes the Sanguine Pool in conjunction with the Howling Gale and the Shurelya's Reverie. They knock Diamond Procs up. They manage to run away, and now we see them going, right, let's steal the buffs. Let's take the control of the jungle, and we'll just commit to the next siege in the next few seconds before Baron runs out.
Well, Baron doesn't have too long left on it, less than a quarter to be precise, so are they going to try and force a quick fight before it does go and they lose that advantage? Going to be nuking down this tower very quickly. Ashe just destroying it, has popped an arrow off. Nice ultimate as well. Bullet time from Misfortune coming straight back, and you're not going to have a dredge line used from Cyanide. Big ultimate there with the depth charge on towards Misfortune, but they're going to have to pull back because they're losing quite a lot of health here. Peke has been caught out from right. Are they going to be jumping on top of this one? Hemo Plague in turn from Vladimir, and Lamy is going to try and go huge onto Diamond Procs, but she's going to get caught out of position. Misfortune will drop her back onto Misfortune as the ultimate has came out there from Yorick, and also the absolute zero. So only 2 players have dropped so far. One for each team. Anivia Wall is going to land nicely, but Diamond Procs will be able to escape. Flash being used there. Big damage onto Alex H. Is it going to be enough to finish him off? Yes, it will. And Peke is dropped into his egg, his rebirth. But that's going to be an inhibitor on everything else. So 1 for 2 exchange and an inhib. Fnatic are going to be pretty damn happy with that.
And neither team was willing to commit to that fight. Like, there was so much back and forth and, oh, let's fight, let's not fight, let's fight, let's not fight, let's fight, let's not fight. The entire time was in and out and in and out and in and out. And I just feel like had one team committed slightly more aggressively, they maybe would have been able to come out a bit more ahead. And, you know, I'm sort of looking at Fnatic a little bit more when I say that, because they survived for so long and they were split focused, and I just think they weren't really sure if they could win the fight, and Moscow 5 were going, well, look, we kind of have to win this fight, you know? But it was a little bit of an awkward battle overall.
It was, and it seems to me that Lamia was the person that really, you know, grew a pair and said, okay, if no one else is going to go in, then I will. And he died in a heartbeat. So you have to feel that if somebody else actually started to push in there, Lamia would have been able to unload on everybody, and it would have probably ended up being an ace. But as it stands, they still managed to get the inhib, 1 for 2 exchange, and now going to be trying to maneuver their way through mid.
And of course, it's not just any inhibitor, it's the bottom lane inhibitor. So as the blue team, what that means, especially the blue team that's already had Baron buff, when that Baron buff respawns once again around the 36 or 37 minute mark, the bottom lane is being pushed by super creeps. So it allows Fnatic the time and the pressure to, you know, let the lane push itself, and Moscow 5 are forced to send somebody to deal with those super creeps. If they do not, they lose a Nexus turret, you know, and it just allows them really, really great Baron control, and it's great play from Fnatic right now. Once again, in the driving seat, nowhere near as dominating as they were the previous game, but definitely still the team that's in, you know, it's their game to lose.
Well, yeah, there's a 9.4k gold advantage right now, or thereabouts, to Fnatic. And Moscow 5, as you said, they're always going to have one thought on bot lane. In the meantime, Darian is going to get taken down. Beautiful wall, actually, from Nivea, keeping half of the team away from Darian there. They're going to be taking him down very comfortably. Cyanide will be getting taken out in return, though. You're going to have an impale onto Nivea, who gets taken out very quickly underneath that tower. And now the hunt is really on for Soaz and Feliox. Feliox tries to pop the Monsoon, but look at that killing spree coming up from Misfortune. Now going to be going down towards this mid tower. And you saw a couple pings, actually, towards the Nexus towers, and the reason for that is look at the super minions. This is exactly what Quickshot was saying before. They always have to keep one eye on that bot lane, and look how quickly the super minions are taking down this Nexus tower. Yeah,
huge wave of creeps. The amount of damage that's there, and that's without a single champion. It should be cleared up. I think Rise is going to get there in time. We do see them starting on Baron Nashor with Misfortune there. They may be able to actually take this down pretty quickly. Impure, the impure shots is huge. Goes through Peppers, absolute zero gets interrupted. But we do see a backdoor from Lamia and from Felox. I hadn't even noticed that. They pick up the kill into Alexish. They do not care about Baron buff. Fnatic should be able to pick this one up. It's up to Darien. If they can keep him off Lamia, I think that's GG. There goes the Flash, putting himself away from it. GG. What more can you say? Backdoor to walk through the victory, and like we said earlier, doesn't matter kills, doesn't matter score, doesn't matter gold. Nexus's Nexi, multiple Nexi, is what makes it count. Fnatic take home a 2-0, going undefeated in today's MMO Champions, League of Champions.
Not just undefeated though, they're so strong. It's incredible to watch that. Honestly, I can't wait to see how they perform at Dreamhack. If it's anything like that, they're going to be a force to reckon with, and they could go a distance, really.
If they can keep it up, and if, of course, Lamia has any other attack damage carries to play from, because, of course, if we see bans from Ashe, do Fnatic have other champions they can play? And luckily, they haven't shown their hand today, so if they do, we're going to see them on LAN, and that is what I'm looking forward to. So, ladies and gentlemen, grand final winners, Fnatic Raid Call, pick themselves up 500 euros, undefeated throughout the day, and dominating performances, it must be said. Taking on Absolute Legends previously, and now taking out Moscow 5. GG no re.